What's going on, guys? So I am here to tell you how I used this machine right here, the FSNF 2100, to take my brand, Coastland Apparel, over $1 million. And it wasn't easy. Anyways, this is the DTG printer. When I first started Coastland, I started out of my bedroom in 2018, and it was it was tight. I had a small little 1,200 square foot house that I bought back when I was in law enforcement. We had a little spare bedroom, so I put this printer, apparel, the heat press that you see over here, computer, pretty much this entire setup, but also with a bunch of blanks set in there until the business started growing. And as the business grew, we put a building in the back of our, in my backyard is a 16 by 32 building or whatever. Then we outgrew that pretty quickly, moved into another building, and now we are in this building, and we will be moving within the next month to an even bigger building as we continue to grow. But I'm making this video because I really want you guys to understand, because I get a lot of questions about why I chose to use the DTG, why I didn't go with the normal screen print route, why I didn't outsource, things like that. So pretty much going to kind of narrow that down a little bit. And the reason why I chose the FSNF 2100 DTG is because when I first started Coastland, when we started getting busier, I was started in real estate. Real estate was actually how I funded the company of Coastland. So I didn't really have the time to fulfill the orders. So I actually hired out to a third-party fulfillment center that's a couple hours up the road. I went and visited their warehouse. Everything was running okay. But it's just the timing of shipping was awful. Noticed a lot of our products were getting shipped out really bad. The quality was everything was just trash. So I kind of got tired of it. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this. So I went up there. Me and my buddy took our stuff out. I figured out what equipment they were using, and I just went ahead and bought it. $25,000 later, this is sitting in my bedroom. When I did buy this machine, it was absolutely perfect for my business model. I didn't have room for inventory. I didn't have the money to pay for inventory. This was only $400 and some a month, and when I got it with the with the platens, the printer, the heat press, the ink. Some dude who was actually coked out of his mind came up and helped us out and taught us how to learn it. And it came with an extra platen. It came with a bunch of stuff, but again, it's $25,000, so it was roughly like $400 and some a month or whatever, including the warranty. And that was about 3 years ago. As the business ended up growing more and more, a buddy of mine came on to help me, and he started printing while I was selling houses. And it just worked, for our business model, for Coastland, it worked. I didn't have the money for inventory. I didn't have the space for inventory. And as you guys know, when you hire out to screen printers, there's a minimum order, and you want a high minimum order to bring your costs down. If you can't bring your costs down, and if you're costing you $15 for a t-shirt and you sell them for $25, you're not doing really good at all. I mean, you want a minimum keystone on your property or your products. So, that it just made sense. Got my wholesale ID, so I could go buy shirts from a local distributor. We were buying our shirts $3, $4, $5. It took us about $1 to print each one on average, another $1 to in time for hiring my buddy, and then we'd sell them for $25 to $30 depending on what we were selling. As the business continued to grow, we needed more people because this thing does take a long time to print a shirt. When you're printing a shirt front and back and you've got 50 shirts to print, it's going to take you almost all day long to print all of these shirts, and that gets expensive, especially when you're hiring somebody to do all the running for you or do all the printing. So then you got your inventory, you got your product cost, you have your employee cost, you have your time. It starts to get expensive. Not to mention, anytime you run out of ink, is $200. It was $218. Now it's $232 for one 600 milliliter cartridge. And we were having to change every color once a week. And we were having to change white ink every week, sometimes twice a week. Anytime this printer runs out of ink, you have to buy two of these. I'll show you. Two white inks at 600 milliliters from Epson. So you're roughly sitting at another $430 every week, sometimes twice a week, because it runs white every single time. We ended up getting the space for inventory, so we ended up using a local screen printer to kind of help outsource a lot of our stuff, and our main core products, make sure we keep them in stock. But we were still using the DTG printer. We were probably at that time, we were 10% inventory, 90% POD, which means print on demand, if you don't know. But then as we continued to grow, I realized that we needed to kind of slowly start bringing the inventory up and the POD down, just because it is a lot cheaper to use Plastisol and the premium inks than it is for the water-based inks. So over time, that's kind of what we started doing. The DTG printer has actually been really, really good. This is my third year I've had it, and we've probably put more shirts through this printer than most people do. I mean, I bought it for $25,000. We've done over 1.2 million just on this printer alone, which is insane. And I'm telling you, when you have 400 or 500 shirts to print, it is not fun. It's extremely time consuming. It's expensive on the ink. It's expensive in labor. When you're printing that many shirts, there's more room for error, because you have to make sure, everything's got to be consistent. Your pre-treatment's got to be consistent. You don't want to sit there and screw the ink up. Once it screws up, you're done. You can't sit there and fix it. So in my opinion, there's a lot more room for error with the DTG printer. But other than that, it works. If your business plan, if you're just starting an apparel company and you want to, you don't know where to start, you don't have room for inventory, I would highly suggest going ahead and spending the money and getting you a good DTG printer. Obviously, these are older and they're not really, they don't really sell them. They do sell them, but they're trying to push the new Epson 3000 R2D2 stuff. I don't know. It's like 60 grand. I'm not buying it because that's a waste of money for me now. Now we actually have, as you can see, I've purchased screen print setup. I haven't used it yet. I will document how I'm going to use it. But as our brand has grown, we realized running off of this doesn't make sense anymore. Just doesn't. Because we're stuck. I mean, we have, this is the amount of orders right here. Not a whole lot that has to print because we don't do a lot of POD anymore. We're keeping a lot in stock, which is great. But these orders right here will still take me 4 or 5 hours to get done because they're all front and back. With our stock now, this is what we have. It is so much easier. I mean, there's probably 75 orders right here alone that just needs to be fulfilled. And I can easily fulfill those in about an hour and a half. So I decided to invest into the screen printer right here. And hopefully that will be able to allow us to keep lower inventory, so I'm not having to, have room for 100, 200 units of each product. I can do runs of 20 or 30 if I wanted to. The ink's a lot cheaper than the DTG printer, a lot of less time, but the setup is greater. Setup takes a lot longer on the screen printer than it does the DTG printer. Pros and cons. That's just the way it is. But you really got to figure out what's best for your business, what's best for your time, and all around. Really put it into some thought. But I will strongly suggest if you're just starting a brand and you can't afford $400 or $500 a month, get a DTG printer. If you can't, go into get some heat film transfers, things like that. I wouldn't say vinyl if you really want to start a brand, because vinyl can be crap. In my opinion, I think vinyl, if you're selling vinyl t-shirts as a brand, I think it's shit. But that's just my opinion. You do what you want with your brand. But yeah, all I can say is, if you are only going to sell 10 to 20 shirts a week, DTG is the way to go. Yeah, it's a little bit more expensive. You can also offer custom products for other people locally that only need 1 to 2 products, so you can sell those for $20 to $25 a unit. And yeah, I mean, you'll make your money. That's not a problem, as long as you're out there pushing it. Super easy to run. These things are workhorses. They're not going to break on you all the time. That's the reason why I got this one. I didn't get a China made one. I wanted one that was strong, because I knew I was going to be putting a lot of work and a lot of t-shirts through it. And I have, thousands upon thousands of shirts have gone through this one printer, and has made me a lot of money and has helped scale our brand to the next level. But now it's time for me to slowly stop using that one and get into this one. We will always use this because, for one, it helps. If we're going to sit there, if I'm sitting there and we're coming up with a new shirt and I don't want to sit there and burn a screen, I can quickly print it on this, see how I like the design, see how I like the color setups, and then go get bottle pictures with it. And then, then if I like it, if my customers seem to like it, everything seems to go good through our social media side, then we'll print it. Or we have some designs that are so intricate that we can't print on our screen printer, so we have to throw it on the DTG printer. So again, figure out what you're trying to do with your brand. And if you're looking to go slow, there you go. You can offer more SKUs. There's so many things that you can do with a DTG printer. Some people hate it because they are expensive, but if you're first starting out and you can afford a couple, $400 or $500 a month payment, that's the way to go.